What's up, nail geeks, and welcome back to August polish pickup video. This month we have the theme book covers, and it is a fantastic theme. Yet another one, I keep saying this every single month, at themes that I don't particularly care for, or AKA I didn't vote for in the Facebook group. But I have to say, based off of the inspirations that I saw and them matching up, and then we have this wonderful mix of finishes and colors, I have to say, I just, again, am just eating my words. So I have quite a few to show off this month, and we're going to do some housekeeping segments in this intro. So if you want to skip ahead, check out the timestamps in the description box below. But for our newbies here, welcome. And if you don't know what polish pickup is, it is a monthly collaboration featuring dozens of makers that get together for one weekend out of the month, the first Friday, and there is a theme voted on in the main Facebook group, also linked below in the description box, that fans can submit their suggestions for, and we kind of pull them all together and say if someone suggested trees and then somebody else said plants, then we'll put it together and say a flora type of theme, that kind of thing. So the themes and voting happens 2 months in advance of the shop, so that we have makers and swatchers and everyone has time to get everything together and get this well-oiled machine ready to go for everyone. It is a fantastic, fun experience. The polishes themselves are super limited edition in that they're only available from the makers for this weekend, and they do possibly come back during the July month each year. And more information on that, we just had our rewind month this last July for this month, and those polishes were voted on by fans. So moving forward, we have some of my favorite times of the year. Usually this is when we start gearing up for the Halloween month, which is September. And I don't know, I just feel like August moving forward is always just awesome. The next part of housekeeping for my intro is our giveaway corner. Every single month on my polish pickup videos, I host a giveaway where I pick 10 random commenters below that to win a $10 PPU gift code. Please note that I do have a very specific time that I choose winners, and if it's before that time, it is probably a bot that's coming on and trying to just ruin fun things and be a scammer. I do my best to monitor the comments to make sure that that is not a problem, and I delete them. And thank you to other commenters too that keep an eye out for me as well and report, and that way they can get removed that way too. So my giveaway is always running until the Tuesday before the shop opens. So for this month, it's going to go until Tuesday, July 30th, at 4 p.m. Central Time. I do my best to get those winners announced at 4 p.m. Sometimes I get a little distracted with life and my kids, things like that, but I do my damnedest. And if it's like super late, I'll still pin a comment on the video to say, I haven't forgotten about you. This is when I'll get home, things like that. I don't foresee that happening a whole lot now because it's not baseball season anymore. School's not in just yet, but anyways. So at that time, look for a pinned comment from me picking my 10 random winners, which leads me into a fantastic segue for the next segment of this intro, is that I also like to shame those of you who did not email me back. So if you are a winner and I've replied to you and you're in my winners comment list on my pinned comment for the video, all I ask is that you'll email me, and then that way I can check you off my list and get you your gift code. It's an actual code, so I have to obviously talk to you in private about it to give it to you. But some of you win and then you don't email me back. So this is my thorough shaming corner for last month, that if you didn't email me back, shame on you. Shame, shame, shame. So this last month, we have 4 people to shame. If you're on this list, please email me at thepolishedmage@hotmail.com so that I can get your gift code to you. If you are Kels Z7574, diametrically opposed 00, N Luther 22. I've seen you comment on some of my PBE stuff, so I know you're around. Shame on you. Email me. And Poor Stargazer 23. If you're in this list above my head here, please email me so I can get you that code. For the rest of you, please leave a comment below. You can say hi, what's on your wish list, whatever. Just leave a comment, and I'm going to use a random generator comment picker. I think it's commentpicker.com or .org or something. That's the one I use, and I just randomly go off of names and so on and so forth. My only, I guess, rule, for lack of better words, is keep it positive. No negativity. This is a unicorn farting rainbows channel. I've had a couple of people at the Polish and Beauty Expo say they were shy for commenting because, or even just in general on my channel, because they're fearful of anyone just being crappy. And I'm here to say I will not tolerate that on my channel. So it's positive, it's upbeat. Let's all support each other. And yeah, if you're skipping, that's great too. But again, be kind to each other, which leads me to what you're here for. You're here for swatches, you're here for review, and you're here to hear me talk about my opinions on things. So we're going to do my live swatching of the polishes that were sent to me. Please keep in mind, newbies, that there are many, many more makers that are going to be available this month. What I have in my video is makers who chose me to represent their polishes through my very opinionated YouTube videos and through my photos for their personal use. So there's much, much more on the website. Let's get started into the live swatches of the nail polishes. Then we're going to do the Will It Topper segment, and then I'm going to smell some sugar scrub goodness from KBShimmer, and then we'll talk about my wish list at the end. So let's get started. Starting off with Ahmya Cosmetics. This is Talk Birdie to Me, described as a lime green pink multi-chrome base with green gold flakes, inspired by Fangirl Down Golf Romance by Tessa Bailey. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 250 bottles. Overall, we have a jelly type formula, and it's got a touch of a squish factor to it. I thought 3 coats was perfect for opacity. I think if you're rocking shorties or nubbins, you might be able to get away with 2 coats, but just go in normal, maybe even somewhat heavy-handed. It will dry down quite flat and a touch thirsty for top coat, so use a thicker, glossy top coat of your choice. I thought this was pretty flattering on me, though I did think it played up against my warm undertones, so if you're warm like me, I would just keep that in mind. Baroness X brings us Poisoned. This is a fluid art polish with a green base and gold metallic shimmer. This one's inspired by poison books that have arsenic in them. Price is $12.50, and there's no cap. So I'm doing a super quickie, the fastest tutorial possible on fluid art polish. This is kind of one way you can do it. There is no right and wrong way. I got this silicone mat gifted to me from Baroness X herself. They are in her shop if you're curious exactly where. You can grab them when she's open, which is usually the first week of every month. Anyways, so I'm using 3 different cream colors and the Poisoned polish, and I'm just making a decal. You just want to do it literally fluid, where it's just running along the mat. I let this particular decal dry down for about 4 hours, and it was tacky enough for me to peel it up without being too dry where it was like flaking off. At this point, I just kind of squish it onto my nail. I use a base coat. It doesn't matter, any base coat. Wait till it's tacky, and then the decal will stick easily to your nails, and then kind of just peel it off. I use the shovel end of my cuticle pusher to kind of help clean it up even more. And then this is a really quick process of a cleanup brush. This is a bit of a messy process. So I've seen some people able to do fluid art directly onto the nails. I have tried it multiple times. I can't get it to do it, but it's certainly another option if you didn't want to make a decal. Fluid art polish can also be worn alone. If you wanted to wear Poisoned by itself, I'm going to suggest 3 coats. It has a wonderful, smooth jelly formula to it, and it had great coverage too. Even though it's a jelly, you might see a touch of your visible nail line if you have a prominent free edge of any type, and I would suggest a glossy top coat to get those gold sparks to really pop. Overall, this is really flattering, and when it toppered, it is so pretty. BCB Lacquers has You Shall Not Pass. This is a chocolate mauve curly base with pink to orange to gold to green shifting shimmer and black metallic flakes. This one's inspired by, of course, Lord of the Rings. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 400 bottles. So this is probably like my 3rd or 4th month working on BCB Lacquers thus far, and I have to say I really dig how super smooth, pigmented, and opaque her polishes are. This one was 2 coats of perfection for me. It self-leveled very well. I really liked that glowing warmth in the middle of the nail. At more extreme angles, you'll see a touch of a gold shift to the shimmer, like you saw in my macro shot there. It dries down very flat, so you might want to finish with a glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat. Beaux Rêves has It Ends With Us. This is a sandy beige base with a strong magenta to gold to green shifting shimmer and matching colored flakes. This one's inspired by the book It Ends With Us. Price is $12 and there is no cap. It Ends With Us has a true Crelly type formula to it. It dries down quite flat, so I think that makes the formula even more forgiving if you wanted to go in, say, heavy-handed like myself. This third coat here, I went in pretty heavy, and then the first 2 coats, I went in just a touch lighter. No issues there. Again, dry time was great and quite forgiving. It will dry down, again, flat, so use a good, thicker, glossy top coat to plump it up. I thought this was a really nice neutral against my warm undertones to my skin, so I think this is one that if you're medium to deep skin tone, I would not shy away from it. I thought it was pretty flattering against me as a neutral color. BKL has the Little Serpent. This is a smoky blue base with rich cobalt shimmer. This one's inspired by the book The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Price is $14 and there is no cap. So I have to just stop and say real quick, the formula to Little Serpent is ridiculously awesome. If you went in heavy-handed, I could see this pretty much being a 1-coater polish. It self-levels very well, but it's packed full of that little shimmer fleck thing. To me, it almost felt like microflakes. So you'll see them kind of mush around as you're applying, but I think 2 coats is perfect. This was so creamy and smooth. It does dry down incredibly flat though. So you'll maybe want to use a glitter smoother or just a thicker glossy top coat. By Dany Vianna has the Foxhole Court. This is a neon orange base with silver magnetic pull. This one's inspired off of the AFG series. Price is $14 and there's a cap of 500 bottles. I really appreciated how different this one was for a magnetic polish. Usually when I think of magnetic polishes, I think of dark colors, more like a galaxy sort of effect. So it's always refreshing to see a magnetic pigment in something brighter and very obvious. I thought this contrasted really well. Now, if you don't want to magnetize it, I think it looks beautiful by itself and it takes on this frosty kind of creamsicle sort of effect. I think to my eyes, I would describe that orange color, in case it's getting skewed across monitors, as being a tangerine type of orange. It reacts really well with the DRK Magic Magnetic Top Coat if you choose to magnetize the way I do. Very nice movement going on there too. This is another one that dries down pretty flat, so finish with a really good glossy top coat to kind of maximize the movement of, or rather the look of the movement to those magnetic particles. I think 3 coats is perfect to build this to opacity. Cadillacquer has a Song of Ice and Fire. This is described as a gray curly base with blue undertones, matte black glitter in 2 sizes, and red to orange to yellow iridescent flakes. This is, of course, inspired by the book series, the namesake of this polish. Price is $14 and there's a cap of 600 bottles. We have a jelly type of formula, and I have to compliment Cadillacquer. So far, everything I've worked on from them has been amazing. I had no issues getting flake and glitter out of the bottle onto the brush. I chose to do 2 normal coats for myself, and then I went in a touch heavy-handed with my icing method on this 3rd coat. I really wanted to pack a punch on that opacity, so this is a way you could wear it. No issues with dry time or anything, so me going heavy-handed was not an issue at all for over buildup. I will suggest a glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat because this will have a touch of texture and thirstiness as it dries down on its own. Chamaeleon brings us Daughter of the Old Kingdom. This is described as a thermal that goes from magenta to colorless with a lilac hue while transitioning. This is filled with UCC flakes and iridescent flakes, shifting pink, orange, green, finished with a scattering of golden reflective glitter and golden hollow glitters. This one's inspired by Sabriel. Price is $13.50, and there's a cap of 250 bottles. Daughter of the Old Kingdom has a very jelly-like buildup to it, and I'm going to suggest 2 to 3 coats depending on how you polish. It does have some thirstiness and texture, so again, I'll suggest a glitter smoothing top coat. There is truly a middle transition color here. It's almost flirting with being a tri-thermal. I'm running very warm here in the South in the summertime, so unfortunately, that middle transition was not showing up for my photos. I'm so excited to see this book as an inspiration. I read it in high school and it's still to this day one of my probably top 10 favorite books. I loved it to pieces. It's such a unique, awesome story. So super geeked out and nerded out in that way. Cuticula comes in with a banger this month. Dead House is described as a deep cornflower blue jelly base with fuchsia metallic flakes, green to blue shifting glass flakes, and black flakes. This one's inspired by the Goosebumps book cover, Welcome to Dead House. Price is $13 and there is no cap. This is gorgeous. Like, it's really gorgeous. This is so freaking pretty in person. I think the video is giving you all a really good representation of how many flakes are packed in this polish. It is not lacking for goodies at all. I'm going to suggest 2, possibly 3 coats if you're going to go in super thin. I chose to do 2 light coats and then I did like a modified icing application on that 3rd coat, kind of like what I did with the Cadillacquer. I wanted this one plump and just juicy on my nails. You will need to finish with a glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat though, as this has a touch of thirstiness from all the flakes. This is chef's kiss on the mosaic factor. Very, very pretty. Danglefoot has On a Beam of Light. This is described as a grayed lilac base with large hollow flakes and purple, pink, gold magnetic pull, inspired by the first of the K-Pax series where he arrives to Earth on a beam of light. Price is $13.50 and there's a cap of 250 bottles. On a Beam of Light feels like it has a bit of a lighter type of formula on the first coat, and it dries down somewhat thirsty and a touch textured from those hollow flakes. So I chose to apply like I do on reflective glitter finishes, where I let the texture from the previous coat adhere the next. I went in a bit ham and thick because it's a magnetic polish and I wanted as much pigment as possible to make it the most dramatic look. No issues with dry time, so again, over buildup was not a problem. So 3 coats, and I went in with DRK's Magic Magnetic Top Coat. I found that the pigment was a touch heavy, so I did use 2 coats, or rather 2 applications of the magnetic top coat, and then it snapped to pretty easy on the second time. So regardless if you choose to magnetize each of your layers or if you are doing it the way I do it, just add in maybe another 10 seconds to get that heavy pigment to move. This is really pretty. It's very obvious, has a lot of movement with the magnetic particles, and that magnetic pigment is quite shifty. I didn't catch all the color roll, but it's quite multi-chrome in person. This will dry down very flat, so use a glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat. Emily DeMolly brings us Dead as a Doornail. This is a dark pink, orange, green multi-chrome polish with silver glitters. This one's inspired by the Sookie Stackhouse books. Price is $13 and there's a cap of 320 bottles. So we have a wonderful multi-chrome type formula. It felt like a chrome on application. It was very opaque and rich in how it built up. I'm going to suggest 2 to 3 coats. Now on the second coat, I waffled a bit and I was like, this is fully opaque on my falsies, which I couldn't see through them, but I didn't care for how flat it looked. So I chose to do the third coat because I like it thick on my nails. Up to your preference in what you want to do with that. Again, I would suggest a glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat to smooth out those glitters. Femme Fatale has Wolfies. This is an inky indigo jelly base with soft, glowing red shimmer that shifts to gold and sparkling blue reflective glitters. This one's inspired by Stephen King's fairy tale. Price is $14 and there is a cap of 400 bottles. Wolfies has a true jelly formula to it in that depending on where you stop between 2 to 3 coats, is how intense that base color is going to come across. So I chose to apply this how I do normally with reflective glitters. Again, repeat myself here. I used the texture from the previous coat to adhere the next. It's got a light formula overall, so I chose to go in pretty heavy-handed because, again, I knew this was going to be one of those super glowy purples, and I love them to pieces, and I'm willing to go in thick if I have to, and I did just that. No issues with dry time. Again, this is a reflective glitter polish, so these dry down pretty flat anyway, so no issues there. I did finish with a glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat. Glisten Glow has Butcher and Blackbird. This is described as a black jelly base loaded with aurora shimmers that shift pink to red to orange with a touch of hollow flakes. This one's inspired by Bryn Weaver's book, Butcher and Blackbird. Price is $13.50 and there is no cap. So we have another jelly type of formula and how this builds up. And the shimmer, I appreciated that it's a finer type of particle finish. So you almost get this sparkly effect from it. Not quite like a foil, because I typically classify shimmery foils as having larger type of particle, if that makes sense. I'm going to suggest 3 coats and a glossy top coat to finish this one off. It is quite pretty. I liked how the base itself is more of like a charcoal type of black. It's super light. This is like an overall light appearance on the base itself, and the shimmer is just what's going to catch your eye's attention best. Speaking of glitter smoothing top coats, Glisten Glow is going to be offering up her glitter grabber for this month. You can grab it for $9.50. There is no cap. This is a fantastic glitter smoothing top coat. This and then a couple others that I rotate while swatching. If you don't have one, you need it. Put it in your cart, because any type of indie special finishes, you're going to need it. How I use it, go in with 1 coat over your textured polish. I'm showing you what was going on with the Femme Fatale. Let it dry down. You'll see it get real flat, and then finish with your top coat of choice and you're good to go. 10 out of 10 recommend. Jen and Berries brings us So It Begins. This is described as a medium blue jelly base loaded with pink to gold to green shifting shimmer and hollow micro flecks. This one's inspired by Lord of the Rings 2 Towers. Price is $13.50 and there's a cap of 500 bottles. Jen is just killing it on these shimmer finishes lately, especially if you watched the new collection, her Starships collection that released this month. She's owning these shimmers. This is no exception. It has a wonderful jelly type of buildup and builds pretty easily to opacity. This is another one that I went in normal for myself, and I built it perfectly at 3 coats. I use a thicker glossy top coat. Again, I'm using a quick dry glossy top coat that tends to get a touch gloopier. And at this point it was a little gloopy and it was perfect to gloss it up. KBShimmer has Just My Type. This is a light purple base with shifty shimmer and a strong color roll. This one's inspired by romance books. Price is $13 and there is no cap. Just My Type is what I would classify as somewhat flirting with being a foil type finish. It's a larger particle, shifty shimmer to my eyes at least, and it's got that almost glistening looking effect. Really, really pretty. I'm going to suggest 3 coats. Go in light-handed and let that paddle brush work for you so that you minimize any potential streaking. It wasn't super noticeable, but on that last coat, I chose to go in light-handed and let the brush work for me. I finished with the glossy top coat and it's perfect. This is so very shifty in person, and depending on your lighting situation, you'll see a different color flip. Really, really pretty. Lemming Lacquer brings us Dead to the World. This is a blackened blue base with shifty shimmer, inspired by the Southern Vampire Mystery series, Dead to the World. Price is $13.25 and there's a cap of 200 bottles. So we have a jelly type formula going on here. This is quite light in the overall look of it, and true to jelly type of formulas, it's going to be pretty different depending on if you choose to stop at 2 or 3 coats. It's quite squishy, so make sure you go in lighter on your coats to prevent any type of dragging or over buildup, and finish with a good glossy top coat. This would dry down quite flat. Again, the base itself is jelly and a softer type of look. So if you have a super prominent free edge going in light on your coats, you might see a touch of your smile line. If that bugs you, I would suggest a nude to you cream or a blurring base coat of your choice. Monarch Lacquer has Muncha. This is described as an earthy chartreuse base with blue to green shimmer. This one's inspired by the Very Hungry Caterpillar. Price is $13 and there is no cap. This is such a pretty color, and I say that knowing this is a chartreuse. In a moment when you see my full hand shot, you'll see what I'm talking about. I thought it looked really good on me. So medium to deep skin tones. If you're curious about this one, I wouldn't shy away from it. I really genuinely liked it against myself. I'm going to suggest 3 coats for opacity. It has a very strong shimmer to it. Very, very pretty, and finish with a good glossy top coat as it dries down flat. I just felt like this looked really nice on me for a chartreuse. So eating my words on my usual negativity about this base color. Night Owl Lacquer brings us Delighted in Anything Ridiculous. That's basically named after me. Described as a dark teal filled with metallic gold flakes, inspired by the gorgeous 1894 peacock cover of Pride and Prejudice. This one's 12 with no cap. This is very pretty. And if you're in the Facebook group and you saw the inspiration photo, the book cover for this one, it's like, she like literally, pun intended, nailed that book cover. Anyways, Delighted in Anything Ridiculous is a jelly type formula, but it builds up very easily, I thought, at 3 coats. You'll want to, again, use the texture from your previous coat to go on with the next coat. Finish with a thin coat of a glitter smoothing top coat to kind of plump it up and smooth it out because we got lots of metallic flakes, and then use a glossy top coat over it. This is really pretty, very gilded, and it is giving me fall vibes. Paradox Polish has the Martian Chronicles. This is described as a baby blue when indoors, when it goes purple when you're outdoors, or when reacted to UV light, and it's got quite a bit of iridescent flakes going throughout it. This one's inspired by the Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury, and the price and the cap is to be announced. We have a very Crelly-ish type of formula. It's lighter, almost jelly-like in how it builds, but it's got a squishing factor to it, as almost like a bounce factor as you go in on your coats. Go in light, go in with a slow buildup, and you're good to go. You can see here I used a UV flashlight to get that purple transition there. So in the sun, it may not be as purple per se, but it's a very obvious difference between indoors and outdoors. I would suggest finishing with a good glossy top coat to seal it up. Penelope Loose has Dark Angel. This is described as a black base with sparkling shimmer that shifts green to blue. This one's inspired by the cover of her own book, a spiritualist novel. Price is $13, and there's a cap of 700 bottles. Dark Angel has an easy, smooth buildup. It's quite opaque, and I went in somewhat heavy-handed, normal for myself, and I thought it was great at 2 coats. This is quite vampy. At more extreme angles, you'll definitely see that blue shift. You can kind of see it on my macro shot there, but in indoor lighting, you'll mostly see that emerald green that you saw in my full hand shot on the video portion. This will dry down quite flat, so use a good glossy top coat to smooth it out. Rogue Lacquer brings us Drink Me. This is a plum purple base with gold to copper chrome shimmer that shifts blue and green. This one's inspired by Alice in Wonderland's cover. Price is $13.50, and there is no cap. We have a very dense formula. Rogue is another one that's just killing it on these shimmer finishes lately, especially if you saw my Rogue video last week. Lots of beautiful opaque shimmers. This one falls into that category. Easy peasy buildup. I waffled on the second coat. I thought it was opaque then, but I wanted it thicker because I like it thick.
Hey, yo.
Go in light on your coats to prevent any type of potential streaking. Again, your final coat, let the brush work for you. This will dry down quite flat, almost matte, because it's so packed full of shimmer. So use a good, thicker, glossy top coat. Sassy Sauce has Not Your Mama's Fairy Tale. This is described as a milky mocha shimmery magnetic base with green to blue to purple to red shifting shimmer. This one's inspired by a book of fairy tales. Price is $13, and there's a cap of 500 bottles. Speaking of super shimmer finishes, this one is really interesting. To me, at least it leaned on my skin tone. I'm very warm. I thought it leaned quite neutral against myself. This is almost taupe in that base color. I think it looks fantastic unmagnetized, almost like that was the intended finish, but you can get a lovely, ghostly, ethereal type of peekaboo effect when you go in with a magnet. Using DRK's Magic Magnetic Top Coat, I had no issues getting it to snap too, so it's got a pretty user-friendly feel to how the magnetic particles responded to a magnet. I'm going to suggest 3 coats and a glossy top coat to smooth it out. This has an obvious purple shift in person that I unfortunately wasn't capturing on my photos. Wildflower Lacquer. Are you going to marry me or not? This is a deep sapphire blue base packed with green to blue to purple shifting microflake shimmer. Inspired by Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, that book cover. Price is $13.75, and there is no cap. This one is delicious. Another one that is like, it is so flirting with being a one-coater polish. It is so ultra smooth and Honestly, I went in and like overworked that brush on the second coat just because it was so satisfying on application. This is beautiful. I'm going to suggest a thicker glossy top coat or maybe a thin coat of glitter smoothing top coat just to plump it up, as it has an incredibly flat dry down to it. And you want to maximize the gloss factor to get those little microflakes to shift. This is very, very pretty in person. It's vampy, it's deep, and just overall lovely. Zombie Claw has Aislinn. This is described as a lavender purple base with electric blue shimmer. This one's inspired by Wicked Lovely. Price is $13.50 and there is a cap of 300 bottles. Aislinn is very versatile. This is another one that I was like floored at when I applied it. I'm going to suggest 3 coats, a glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat if you choose to wear it by itself. This is a soft, milky type of finish. I think you'll see a touch of your smile line if you have one, whether it's natural, artificial, whatever, you'll see it. So use a blurring base coat if that bugs you, but overall we're seeing a very ghostly type of finish here. It also doubles as a wonderful glow in the dark shimmer topper, spoiler alert. And I think there's a lot of ways you can wear this. It's super fun. And I charged it with my nail lamp for the glow in the dark photo, and it was very bright. And we're going to close this chapter of this book with the Will It Topper segment. This is where I use a black swatch stick to demonstrate if polishes have layering capabilities. Ahmya Cosmetics works very well. I think this would work at the best over dark colors or matchy match. Baroness X looks stunning over black. This is like a vampy, gilded looking appearance. But again, I would stick with dark colors or matchy match. BCB, in theory, it works, but personally, I think it's too creamy to properly topper. Beaux Rêves is stunning over black. I think you can do quite a bit with this, though I think the neutrals would really pop the best with it. BKL is technically, yes, it works, but that formula is so creamy smooth, you're not doing it justice, and I just think it's too opaque. By Dany Vianna, it takes on a completely different appearance over black. However, it's quite jelly in how that base is, so if you choose to layer it, I would caution, make sure you go heavy-handed and even to prevent any type of patchiness. Cadillacquer, too crelly. Personally, I mean, technically it does, but personally, I wouldn't recommend it. Chamaeleon works well over white. Personally, I would probably do 2 coats over a white or really any light color. I think it does pass the test pretty well. Cuticula, yes, it works. And you can get a really nice vampy, flaky finish, but I don't think you're doing this one justice. It's too pretty to topper. Danglefoot also passes the test, with the caveat that I would only do dark colors here too. Emily DeMolly, I don't particularly think you're doing this one justice either. I think it's too rich in opacity. Femme Fatale looks really cool over black. I think this is going to be fantastic over burgundies, reds, purples, things like that. Glisten Glow, if you wanted a less smoky type of base and you wanted the true black base, I think this would work really good. 2 coats over black would be perfect. Jen and Berries is very nice over black, but again, I don't think you're doing it justice toppering it. KBShimmer works. It's flirting with being a foil finish, like I previously stated. I think it looks really cool over dark colors. Lemming Lacquer. Yes, it looks good over black. It is such a shimmer bomb, but I think this is going to look best over purples and blues. Monarch Lacquer is stunning over black. I was pleasantly surprised by this one, so I think you can get pretty creative with it. Night Owl is so pretty. It almost even looks like a flaky topper over black, but it is quite pigmented, so keep that in mind. Paradox, if you wanted a more creamy looking appearance and less of that milky jelly type finish, you could absolutely do it over white. I would apply 2 coats over a white base if you wanted to do it like this. Penelope Loose is already pretty damn vampy, if I do say so. I don't really see a point in toppering it. Rogue Lacquer, very much like the KBShimmer, is stunning over black. This is lovely. It's almost like its own like sheet of shimmer over black. So just be careful that it is quite pigmented on the pink base. Sassy Sauce works well over black. In fact, I think it looked stunning in person. I don't think the video is doing it justice. There's a strong purple shift. Wildflower, while it does look really cool over black and maybe dark colors, I don't think you're doing it justice using it as a topper. And Zombie Claw, there's so much you could do with this polish. Again, I would classify this almost, even though it's intended to be worn by itself, I think it's a fantastic glow-in-the-dark ultra shimmer topper. So before we get to my wish list and the recap for sale and launch information, I have my non-polished item to discuss with you all and sniff all that fun stuff. Again, if you're new around here, this is where I kind of blind sniff goodies. I prefer to do that. I feel like not have any confirmation bias towards a scent. So this month we have the scent Apricot Freesia from KBShimmer for the Sugar Scrub. If you've never heard me rave about KBShimmer's Sugar Scrub, they're fantastic. They're very heavily oil-based. I personally use them in the shower. I have my mommy moment, which is usually on Friday nights. That's typically where I shave, and then I will do a sugar scrub, and it keeps me so moisturized, I don't even have to use lotion after my shower. And then with the caveat that if you choose to use it like I do in the shower, please note it is very heavily oil-based. It will make the bottom of your shower tub quite oily, so just be mindful of that. Be really careful when you're stepping in and out of your shower. I tend to just take the shower head and rinse it really well. Some people tend to use scrubs before shaving if you shave. I like to do it after. I'm a little backwards in that, but it just, I don't know. Maybe my skin is just super tough. I don't know, but I prefer it that way. You can also use it for like a 30-second manicure sort of thing where you do your routine and whatnot, or if you wanted to refresh your hands after, say, a day or two old manicure, then you could do that too. It's fantastic. It's very moisturizing. And you could also use it for pedicures too. I personally do my own pedicures. I will get the little soaking tub out. I will scrub my feet and clean them up and paint them, what have you. But these are fantastic for that. And then a super helpful tip as well, if you're using it anywhere around water, use a like plastic spoon or like a popsicle stick or something. That way you don't get water inside of it because you don't want it to get real goopy. You want it to stay as how it came to you as much as possible, if that makes sense. So the scent for this month, off the bat, it's pretty strong. I can smell it, and it's about yay from my nose here. It's very floral. If floral is your thing, this month is for you. I mean, I'm usually a big bakery fan, but I've got to say this is very pleasant. It's like smelling a bouquet of flowers. It's very fresh, doesn't really have a super artificial sort of smell to it. It's just straight floral. It's very nice. It's got a strong, springy bouquet type of scent to it. So if floral is your jam, you're definitely going to want to grab this. I think there is a bit of that apricot undertone. It's almost like kind of like peach, but it's like super floral and then like a layer of peach at the bottom notes. So the official scent description is a fresh scent with bright floral notes enhanced by a fruity sweetness, making for one alluring fragrance. Yeah, so there's not any like super specific scent notes here. To my nose, I'm getting that, prominent floral with a almost peach. That's obviously the apricot. So moving on to the next segment, this is where I pull up the makers spoilers list from the Facebook group, the main Facebook group. And I just go through real quick and I talk what has caught my eye and what's going to go on my wish list. I tend to go through the spoilers thread and kind of make a mental note of what I like. And then when official wish listing opens up, which is the Sunday before the shop opens, then you can go in. If you have an account, you can make an official wish list and go from there. I typically have a huge list and then I just kind of whittle it down with, photos. And I just kind of like, at this point, I think I just know how someone's going to apply it just by how it looks, essentially. Sometimes I'll seek out video swatches, whatever. I just whittle it down. But the wish list is a big thing for those of you who are new to polish pickup. So going from the maker's spoilers thread, Vanessa Molina's magnetic polish looks beautiful. This is so stunning. I know she's been on this like super flaky kick lately with these like super chunky flakies and like a a soft jelly base, and those have been amazing thus far too. She does magnetics really good too, and this looks really, really pretty. I'll definitely want to see some more swatches of it, but this is going on my wish list. Swamp Glosses Cowboy Romance. Like this particular book cover has made me laugh.
Hey, yo.
It looks like a chunky type of crelly, but the overall contrast between the thermal of the warm and cold state, I think that looks like a thermal. It looks like a thermal. And those lime glitters, really, really cute. It looks like it has a delicious opacity to it as well. So that is definitely caught my eye. The Sugar Bubbles plate. OMG. So way back in the day when we used to do these like massive group buys, and there was a stamping Facebook group. I don't even know if I'm still a part of it anymore, but many, many years ago, Pepperidge Farm remembers that we used to do all these international group buys for these really cool plate makers, and Sugar Bubbles was one of them. I used to collect their plates like no one's business. They're etched well, just chef's kiss in general. And I am loving, since Sugar Bubbles got on with Polish Pickup, I think 2 months ago, I'm just blown away by how well they've interpreted the theme. So this one is definitely going to come with me. It is such a cute plate, and I have never had a problem with their plates. So beautiful etching, easy, user-friendly type of stamping from those. So I can't recommend those enough. That is going to go in my collection. Like, I literally treat stamping plates, especially really unique ones like this, almost like Pokemon cards. I love them, and I have many old album books where I use them. I like kind of repurpose them into making it as a display for my stamping plates. Anyways, Watches polish is so pretty. I love mosaic type effects in terms of like flaky finishes. I typically am very picky on flaky polishes. I just am. Like, they have to look a certain way for me to like it. And usually it's just ridiculous and loud is my favorite type of polish to wear. And this is one of those. Like, it looks so pretty, and it almost looks like the flakes are not so much going to be that like almost, I don't want to say plastic, but like mylar looking. These look like they're going to be super metallic and lay down wonderfully. I love when the flakes behave almost like gold foil. It's very satisfying. And I think these look like they're going to be like that. Art as Nails. This is very pretty. This looks like, I don't know, it's described as a silvery base with shimmer that flashes green to pink. This is really nice. It looks almost chrome-like, but like a pastel-y sort of chromey look. Again, I want to do a little more homework, but this also caught my eye too. It looks very pretty. And then, of course, per usual, I want to highlight the Off the Hook creations for this month. It is so cute. If you're new around here, I always will highlight her little crochet toys. You can get them as cat toys because they'll have catnip in them. But if you want to display them too, they're usually about yay big. You can do that. I have grabbed the Petey the cat for my oldest. He's obsessed with Dogman. I grabbed 2 llamas, and I wanted one to put on my desk, and then I gave one to the cat too. But they're so cute, and I'm always so impressed that she's able to make so many. This month we have a crochet bat inspired by Dracula. So that is it's just so cute. They usually sell it really fast. So if you want to grab one of her bats or any of her crochet items each month, I highly recommend being in the shop at opening within probably the first 10 minutes. I would imagine, especially with Halloween around the corner, the bat is going to go really fast. So I know on the Femme Fatale swatch for this video, I mentioned that I love really strong multi-chrome, that type of purple. It's usually a medium, just deep, rich, intense purple, and it's got some type of strong shimmer in it. And I'm such a sucker for that type of finish, especially nowadays when we got the reflective glitters to go in them too. Sweet and Sours to me, looks like it's that type of purple. It looks beautiful. I want to see more swatches, obviously, but it looks very, very pretty. And I'm seeing there's neon green hex glitters in here. So I like a good contrast any given moment for polish. And this one looks like it is giving exactly that. Northern Star has another cuticle oil. I'm such a huge fanatic for, skincare kind of stuff. But I got the cuticle oil sampler from last month, and I think I put it on my nails earlier, but it had the scent lemon meringue, and I think it was last month's, but it had lemon meringue, strawberry shortcake, and there was another one. The lemon meringue is so good. It's such a light scent, so it's not like, you're going to get bored of it after using it for a day. Such a wonderful blend. So, which brings me to this month's, which I'm such a nut for like fall smells. This month, the sampler is going to have cranberry pumpkin, oatmeal cookies, and coffee ice cream. So they're samplers. So they're little 5 ml rollerball things with a metal rollerball. Really nice for sticking in purses and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm so excited for PSL season. I'm very basic in that regard, and I'm okay and comfortable with being a basic chick like that. Pepper polish. This is very nice. This is the time of year when we start seeing super glowy purples and blues, and I will always poop on purples any opportunity I get, but man, it's just those types of purples and like super glowy purples, when they're done well, okay, count me in as a fan. I'm on board on the wagon of hype, and I'm here for it. And pepper polish, this is really, really nice. I like this one a lot. Again, we got to do some more homework, as I'm hoping to get this video up well before wish listing, but this is really nice. I really dig this one. This looks very glowy. Cleonade Cosmetics, The Prince and the Lion. This is gorgeous. Yeah, this is so pretty. I'm thoroughly impressed with this one, and just the way it looks like it's going to be pretty opaque, and it almost looks like it's got that medium purpley. Again, we're talking about purpley stuff and super strong shimmer. So I dare say, yes, I want to see more swatches, but just given what I'm seeing from this already off the bat, I think I'm already going to fall in love with it. So far, that is what has caught my eye on the Maker's Spoilers thread. Please keep in mind there's going to be a lot more that probably have not answered the spoiler thread just yet, but there's much, much more. Wish listing is going to go up officially the Sunday before the shop opens up. So for this month, that is going to be July 28th. I'm thinking I might get this out. Probably, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, the Friday before wish listing. That's usually when I try. We'll see, because I am waiting at this exact moment. I'm waiting on quite a few of them, so we'll see. But wish listing opens up then, and then the shop opens up for official pre-order starting July 2nd at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and it's a pre-order style. It will run until July 5th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. If you check out the Polish Pickup official site, there is a calendar of events. If you're new around here, the calendar of events will talk about shipping. It'll talk about, when the voting is going to go up, things like that. I will link the site below in the description box. I'll have timestamps if you need to go back for anything. And I'll also link you to the official Facebook group where the theme nominations are submitted, voting happens, and you can see swatches from all types of other makers that are not featured in this video. And I'll also link you to the BST group where myself and my nail wife, my best friend, Lisa of Cosmetic Sanctuary, we run it together as admins. And that's basically, it's a anything goes chat to an extent. You could talk about whatever. And then if you want to trade, buy or sell with each other at your own discretion, then you can. Of course, the BST part is for Polish Pickup goodies only. All of this will be in the description box below. Don't forget to leave a comment to enter my giveaway, and just keep an eye out on Tuesday for when I announce winners for that. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.